Good day everyone. For today's presentation I am discussing one of the subtopics of variance analysis, which is the material variance. Without further ado, let's begin. For the first problem number 1, it says, Fashion Boutique has the following information available for this year. Standard material, 2 yard per dress at 25 per yard. 1800 dress were produced. Actual material, 3,000 yards were used for 20 yard. Requirements 1. Compute for price and quantity variance.
And now let's go for the solution. For the step 1, you need to identify the given information to be able to solve more accurately. And then for the step 2, identify the formula. For price variance formula, it is actual quantity multiplied to actual price minus standard price. And for quantity variance, it is standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. And now let's try to solve the price variance. The actual quantity is equal to 3,000, the actual price is equal to 20, and the standard price is equal to 25. Let's first solve what's inside the parenthesis, which is the actual price and the standard price.
So 20 minus 25 would be -5, or it can just be 5. And then bring down the 3,000 and multiply it to the 5. We get an answer of 15,000 for price variance.
And this is considered as favorable because the business actual price is much lower than their standard price. Now let's go to the quantity variance. The formula is standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. The standard price is 25 pesos per yard. And for the standard quantity, it is 3,000 yards. Standard quantity is not given in the problem, so you need to solve for it. And for us to solve it, we need to multiply the actual dress produced to the material per dress that put in the standard. So 1,800 multiplied to 2 would be 3,600, and that's our standard quantity. And in solving, it would be 25 multiplied to 3,000 minus 3,600. First, know the difference between 3,000 and 3,600, and it is 600. You can put negative or not, it is okay. And then multiply to 25 standard price, it would be 15,000. So now our quantity variance is also 15,000, and it is considered as favorable as well because the actual quantity is less than the standard quantity that the business produce.
Now, let's proceed to the problem number 2. Amy wants to cook fried chicken, showing the information below is the material that she needs to buy. Standard, raw whole chicken, 2 kg 200 grams for 200 kg. Actual quantity produce, Amy produces 8 pieces of fried chicken. For raw whole chicken, 1 kilogram or 1,000 grams were used for 150 per kg. Compute for price and quantity variance.
Okay, now let's try to compute for it and provide the solution. First, you need to know also the formula for price variance and quantity variance, just like in the problem number 1. For step 2, determine or identify the given information that you will need for us to be able to solve the price variance and the quantity variance. So for price variance, it would be 1,000 multiplied to 150 minus 200. 150 minus 200 would be -50, or you can simply put 50. And then multiply it to the 1,000, which is the actual quantity. And then the answer would be 50,000. and it is considered as favorable because the actual price is much lower than the standard price. Now let's go for quantity variance. Just follow the formula standard price multiplied to actual quantity minus standard quantity. So the answer would be 200 multiplied to 1000 minus 2000. First, know the difference between this actual quantity and standard quantity, which is the 1000 minus 2000. And the answer would be negative 1000, or simply put 1000. And then multiply it to 200, and the result would be 200,000. For the quantity variance, it would be a favorable because the actual quantity is much lower or lesser than the standard quantity. So for the problem number 2, the price variance is 50,000 and it is favorable, while the quantity variance is 200,000 and it is also favorable as well. So for problem number 3, during April, Hello Company has the standard material cost of 3 kg per sack of cement for 80 pesos per sack, and use an actual of 1,200 sack of cement for 90 pesos per sack. Hello Company produced a total of 500 Hello blocks. Required, compute for price variance and usage variance. So here are the solutions. For step 1, take note the formula. For price variance, again, it is actual quantity multiplied to the actual price minus the standard price. And for usage variance or quantity variance, it is standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. And then take note also the information that you need to solve the problem. So the standard cost and the actual cost are given in the problem, and then the total quantity of product produced. And then take note of the following information that you need to be able to solve the problem. So in the problem, the given is the standard cost and the actual cost and the total of product produced. Now let's start with price variance. Actual quantity is equal to 1,200, actual price is equal to 90, and standard price is equal to 80. First, know the difference between the actual price and standard price. 90 minus 80 is equal to 10. And then multiply it to the actual quantity, which is the 1,200, and the answer would be 12,000. And it is considered as unfavorable because the actual price is much more higher than the standard price, which means that the material price is used for production is higher. And now let's try to solve for usage variance. First, you need also to follow the formula, which is SP multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. The standard. And now for the usage variance. First, follow the formula, which is the standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. And the problem, standard price is equal to 80, the actual quantity is equal to 1,200, and the standard quantity is equal to 1,500. The standard quantity is not given in the problem, so we need to solve for it. And for us to solve it, we need to multiply the total product produced to the standard cost, which is the 3 kg per sack of cement. And now we can compute for it. 1,200 minus 1,500 is equal to negative 300, or simply put 300, and then multiply it to the 80, which is the standard price, and the answer will be 24,000. And it is considered as favorable because the quantity of material used is much lower or lesser than the standard that predicted by the company. And now we get to the problem number 4. Toy Kingdom Factory has needed material to make a bear toy for this year. Below are the information. For the standard quantity, it is 125 kilogram of cotton. And then it has a standard price per kilogram of 60 pesos. And the actual quantity used is 100 kilogram of cotton. And the actual price per kilogram is equal to 50 pesos. And for this problem, we need to compute for the following. Number 1, material variance. Number 2, price variance. And the number 3 is quantity variance. And now for the solutions. First, you need to take note of the given information for you to be able to compute it more clearly and accurately. Second, identify also the formula if you're not familiar with formula. And for the problem, they need to identify the price variance, usage variance, and the material cost. Let's first explain the price variance. So the price variance is equal to actual quantity multiplied to the actual price minus standard price. The 100 is for the actual quantity. For the actual price is 50 and the standard price is 60. So 50 minus 60 is equal to negative 10, or simply put 10. And then multiply it to the actual quantity, which is 100. And the answer would be 1,000. It is considered as favorable because the actual price is much lower than the standard price. The next one is the usage variance. The formula is standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. So the standard price is equal to 60, actual quantity is equal to 100, and the standard quantity is equal to 125. 100 minus 125 is equal to 25, or negative 25. And then multiply it to the standard price, which is 60. Then the answer would be 1,500. It is considered as favorable because the quantity of materials that needs to use is lower than the standard that the company predict. And now for the material cost variance. The formula is standard quantity multiplied to standard price minus actual quantity multiplied to the actual price. So it is gonna be 125 for standard quantity multiplied to the standard price, which is 60, and then actual quantity is 100 and the actual price is 50. And now let's first multiply. 125 multiplied to 60 is equal to 7,500. And 100 multiplied to 50 is equal to 5,000. So 7,000 minus 500 would be 25, or 2,500. For additional information, you can try to solve for material cost variance. Just know the difference between the price variance and the usage variance, and the answer would be the same. So for price variance, it is 1,000, and then for usage variance, it is 1,500. And the answer would be 25 if you add them both. Since for price variance, it is favorable, and then for usage variance is also favorable, so it uses addition for us to be able to get the material cost variance. It is all for problem number 4. Now let's go to problem number 5. Star Company has the following direct materials needed for expansion. For standard materials, it is 3,000 units at 125 per unit. And the actual material is 5,000 units used for 150 per unit. And we need to compute for the following. First, material variance. Second is price variance. And the third one is quantity variance. Now, let's try to solve it. First, let's identify the given information that we will need to solve the problem. Second, identify as well the formula. And for the third step, we can try now to compute for it. And now for price variance. So 5,000 is for actual quantity. The actual price is 150 and the standard price is 125. First, know the difference. 150 minus 125 is equal to 25. And then multiply it to the actual quantity, which is 5,000, which gives an answer of 125,000. And it is considered as unfavorable because the price of the materials, which is the actual, is much more higher than the standard price. For the next one, it would be usage variance. Usage variance formula is standard price multiplied to the actual quantity minus standard quantity. Standard price is equal to 125. The actual quantity is equal to 5,000 and the standard quantity is equal to 3,000. So 5,000 minus 3,000 is equal to 2,000 and then multiply it to the standard price, which is the 125, and the answer would be 250,000. And it is considered as unfavorable because according to the data, the actual quantity of the materials that needs to use is much more higher than the planned ones, which is the standard cost. And lastly, for the material cost variance, which has the formula of standard quantity multiplied to the standard price minus actual quantity multiplied to the actual price. The standard quantity is equal to 3,000. The standard price is equal to 125. And then the actual quantity is equal to 5,000. And the actual price is equal to 150. By following the formula, we can try to solve it. So 3,000 multiplied to the 125 is equal to 375 minus 5,000 multiplied to 150 is equal to 750,000. So 375,000 minus 750,000 is equal to 375,000 or negative 375,000. For the material cost variance, it is considered as unfavorable because the materials that needs to use for the actual is much more higher than the standard one. This means that the company uses more than the ones that they planned. So it is unfavorable. That's all for the topic of material variance. I hope you understand and learn from the 5 examples that I have shown and explained. Thank you.